New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 1.5. A couple 0-1 teams battle for last place in the AFC East. A couple things coming together here. You have Miami looking like the worst team in the league last week. We're getting shut out until they snuck an 8 spot in there. And then you've got New England traveling to Miami in September. You get those two things battling against each other. The history of the Patriots in the Belichick era, the Brady era, going to Miami in the heat, or whenever they went to Miami, having those challenges. And oh, by the way, like Tua's Dolphins, they've pretty much dominated the Patriots, even in post Brady world. You have that going up against the fact that Miami looked like the worst team in the league last week.
Yeah, and look, this is a classic overreaction spot, right? Miami presumably can't possibly be as bad as they looked in week 1 because, as Mike McDaniel said, the good news is it can't get any worse than that. I mean, that was literally as bad as it gets.
I like the Dolphins fans in the chat are like, just skip it. You don't have to talk about the Dolphins.
And I kind of agree. They can't possibly be that bad because that would make them by far the worst team in the NFL, and they would be heading for a winless record or, one win somehow flukily across the course of the season. So you assume it's going to get better, but it's hard to find reasons why because everything just feels like a bummer. Like Tua's getting into it with reporters. Mike McDaniel sounds like a guy that's just fed up with life.
Tyreek Hill's getting in further. Everybody else down.
Right. Tyreek Hill's getting in further, off-field trouble. Like, everything's just bad. And this is on top of an offseason that sounded terrible and, a downer across the entire thing. Like, it's the vibes in Miami are so awful right now that it's hard to see them snapping out of it in a week.
Yeah. And now the Patriots coming off of I would say disappointing 20-13 loss, being down 2 scores in the fourth quarter to the Raiders. I went back and rewatched the Patriots offense, and it felt like it's always tough to put your finger on when an offense isn't executing or they're not putting up points, and you want to blanket blame someone, a position. It's the quarterback, right. It's the offensive line. This was one of those, it felt like one thing screwed up on every play type of deal. Drake May missed some wide open throws. The same thing we're talking about with Caleb Williams. Just missed some wide open throws. There were other plays, man. The scheme was awful. I mean, I'm watching him. He's at the top of his drop, and he's got receivers, still like 10 yards before their break. They're just there's no timing there. And then the offensive line. I don't think the offensive line, man for man, was awful, but I think there was a lot of blown one block per play type of plays. Will Campbell, same thing, right? I thought 90, whatever you want to say, were tackles. Big chunk of the plays were good. There was 3 really clean whiffs, just bad losses. And that's always my biggest concern with Will Campbell. When he loses, they're pretty clean. And it's not even this length thing, whatever. He's letting guys get outside of him pretty quickly. So Malcolm Kuntz got him a couple times. Jared Wilson had a couple of those, the rookie guard up front. So they've got some of these growing pains in there. So that's what I saw. There was some hints that Vrabel saying, there's a lot on Drake May's plate and they want to simplify it or whatever it might be. And maybe that's part of the inaccuracy, like you're saying, when you're swimming, it affects footwork and it affects misses. But I thought there was some positives in there. Keyshawn Butte looked good. I thought Stephon Diggs started to get a groove. Demario Douglas had a drop in there, but he's usually pretty good at getting open. I want to see New England try to run the ball a little bit more. And I do think their defensive front did a really nice job against the Raiders, causing some havoc there, and I think they have a chance to do that against Miami here. Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action.
I was so mad at the Patriots for not having Kyle Williams as a bigger part of the offense. Not for a couple of reasons. Number one, because it's one of those, I hate when you have a guy that gets drafted reasonably high and he goes to a team where there's an obvious need and pathway to playing time for him, right? And then even usually in training camp and preseason, the hype stays. And then you get to week 1, it's it just disappears. It's no, actually, psych, none of that was real. He's going to play 5 snaps. That's what happened with Kyle Williams. Okay, he hadn't had a dominant preseason or anything, but there were plays where he looked awesome and they weren't able to connect. Josh Dobbs throws it 1.5 yards behind him on a slant where he was wide open, that kind of thing. But he played 7 snaps in this game. Mac Hollins played 35 or 40 or something. It's we can't We can't find some snaps for
Max Moore, your traditional
whatever.
X,
Matt
though,
Collins, Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Butte playing like 55 snaps. Like you're telling me,
he's good though. He's better than Williams.
I'm just
right
saying
now.
we can't find 25 snaps for Kyle Williams to get out there and carve people up with his route running.
I know you want to see that. You want to see the rookies there. Matchup to watch though for me, like I said, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore. I thought Harold Landry had a really nice debut. Is it official 2.5 sacks by the NFL? It's 3. Tackled the quarterback 3 times. But Landry had a pretty good game.
We may not be part of PFF anymore, but we still believe that half sacks are stupid.
I will never do the half sack thing.
Yeah.
We'll never convert to half sacks. They're dumb. If you've ever heard my diatribe on that. Caleb Chason had a really nice rush in there last week against Colton Miller and got back there. He's continuing to be a disruptive player at this point. He
figured it out in year 10 or whatever it is?
Yeah, like as a edge 2.5 rusher. He's not like your real 2, but if he's a 3, you're pretty happy with it. I think that's where Chason is at this point in his career.
Is Caleb Chason the new Jason Babin? You know, you spend like 8 years waiting for him to break out, and finally there it is.
Nobody knows who Jason Babin is. Nobody knows.
Love Jason.
Get him in the wide 9, and he's good. Anyway, big matchup for the AFC East. Can Miami bounce back from looking awful? And New England, again, they looked pretty good early on, and they just never found that rhythm offensively. But I think they have it. Objectively, I'm looking at it, I'm like, one thing screwed up per play, and I think they should have some more opportunities offensively against Miami here.
When in week 1, I think the Dolphins had started that game as favorites, and it surprised me at the time. And then the Colts became favorite as the line wore on. Again,
was Vegas vibe changing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it kind of surprises me that Miami have started off favorites in this game, even though I kind of get it in terms of, look, they can't possibly be that bad, and the Patriots weren't very good either. But for the same, I'm going to stick with it. I'm not buying. The vibes are so bad about Miami. I'm not buying any kind of positive performance until I see one.
Yeah, I'm going to go same. I'm going to say New England until Miami proves otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, which they could. I mean, they're at home in Miami. Tua can't be as bad. That was the worst I've seen him.
None of it can
since
be
his
as
rookie
bad.
season last week.
None of it can be as bad, possibly, as it was.
But their 2 best players are dealing with stuff, so who knows?
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?